Hi everyone, this is Megan Burns, and today I'm going to walk you through how to do a We Must Resist gouache resist drawing. For this, I have done an image of Notre Dame in the spirit of getting ready for my sketch Paris, from a photo I took when I was there, right? But for today's version, I have simplified it, so it is just Notre Dame, and I will provide that to you. And so here are the things that you're going to need. You need super thick, 100% cotton watercolor paper, right? And so for this, I have Arches Grano Grueso, right? Super rough. It is like the roughest paper they have, and it holds up nicely because the grain really adds to the texture of it. So that, and then a sketch, a drawing. I'll show you mine in a moment. We need some white gouache, and if you want other colors, that's fine. Paint brushes, palettes. I've got my pencil. I've got my fountain pen because I always like some lines in there too. And for this, we need the gouache and the Chinese ink, right? There's that. And then for the very end, the last step is that we use our saturated inks as you wish, right? Any type of saturated inks, any colors. I, of course, have my Ind Art saturated inks as well as my Ind Art Chinese ink, but any brand that you have will work, okay? So let's get started here. Make a little room here, and I'm going to switcheroo the camera. Okay, so here is my sketch of Notre Dame. I did it pretty quick with pencil. I'm still not exactly sure if I want to be doing this in ink or pencil. So I thought, well, I'll just start with pencil, and I can always add ink, right? So what I'm going to do now is the idea behind is that every place that I paint with the white gouache is where the black ink, the black China ink, is not going to be able to hang on to, right? So I'm just going to do this pretty quick. I'm not going to care too much like it about it being precise. Let me get a little water here. Let's see. Yeah, so I'm going to paint around like all the windows of Notre Dame. I am still absolutely just playing with this, the idea of doing this, but what I do like about it is that it looks almost like a print. Where is my thing? Here, let me show you. Is that it's got qualities like a monotone print, but these are all with China ink and saturated inks, and it's resisting. So we actually are going to run this under the water to remove the black ink, and the color underneath is what stays, and then I add some saturated inks, right? So it's really, there's a few steps involved. The reason why I started playing with this is that because of all my continuous line classes and workshops and everything, I'm totally at a place where everything I do is 15 minutes. Not everything I do, but I mean everything, all my drawings, I'm in this place where it's 15 minutes, right? And so I was kind of poking around. I'm like, I want to find something that takes longer than 15 minutes. I want to play with, printmaking can take all day for one print, which drives me crazy. So I started playing with this, and I like the dramatic results of it, right? Like powerful blacks, powerful colors, the whole nighttime, right? It's a nighttime painting. And, it's okay if it's a little crazy and not precise. Like, I don't want to do anything precise. That's not my deal at all. And so, look at even my little circle doesn't fit there. That's all right. Who cares? Talk about a very simplified version of Notre-Dame, right? Like as I am preparing to go there, I've been simplifying the Eiffel Tower and Notre-Dame. Just doing because I plan on doing a lot of drawing, of course, while I'm there. Go figure. In the sketch Paris. And so I've been practicing just the quick hits, right? Drawing it quickly. Big circular stained glass. I'm even kind of amending my sketch because it was a little off, and while I said it was okay, it bothered me a little bit. So this church, just like many others, is kind of broken down in layers. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So and I only figured that out after like studying it, because at first it can be very overwhelming, like this massive church, right? Then I just look at it like, how do you break it down? Let's break it down. Simplify, right? Simplify. Big doors. So this is like, it feels like I'm painting with Elmer's glue, is what it feels like. Painting with white, right? And the thing about this technique is that I have to let everything dry really well before I move on to the next one. And that kind of broke my spell of 15 minutes, because I literally had to let things dry. And I was like, what is this process of letting things dry? I don't know what that means. Let's see, if I put it on, I want the black there. Okay. Ooh. I don't paint much with gouache, so it's kind of, I'm just kind of playing with it, right? I'm just getting familiar with it. It does, like I just said, it feels like Elmer's glue, which is not a good feeling for me at all. I want something, I like the satisfaction of like color immediately, and this does not provide that. But I do want to get in the habit of doing things that take longer than 15 minutes. There's nothing wrong with 15 minutes, but and now, just because I want some just putting a very light, oh, there's some red on this, in this brush. That's okay, kind of like that. Actually, I might just take a little dab. Oh, I have some right here. See, this is, I'm just rolling with it, right? Because, there's a big tree right next to Notre-Dame, right on the River Seine. Here's the River Seine, right? I like that. All right, I'm gonna let this dry. Okay, hi, so the white gouache has dried, and I also just put some specks of saturated inks just to try it because, you know, this whole thing is just about experimenting and playing with new ideas and whatnot. So for the next step, I have a very big brush, and I'm gonna take my gouache that's in this little palette. Oh, look at that, it's dry already. Very dry here in San Miguel. So I'm just going to put a little, I don't need a bunch, just a little there. Can you see that? Yeah. I'm going to get this whole thing wet. The idea here is just to put a very light coat of gouache. And this just kind of adds to the texturing portion of the program. So it's like very milky, very milky. Oh, it's always so weird doing this. Just, there we go. Super light, like that. In fact, I am, just cause, why not? Let's experiment a little bit. I'm gonna just lift some of it up. Because I really don't want a solid thing of anything, right? So there. Now I'm going to let that dry. That's not going to take too long because things dry very quick. And what I'm going to do now is just to add more texture, more dimension, is I'm going to put a little black line here. So I'm just going to give this a few minutes. I have a blow dryer here. In fact, I think I'll just blow dry that real quick. Okay, so this is nice and dry. No dampness to it at all. And so what I'm going to do now, just because I'm an inky kind of a person, and this may not even show up, right? I'm just going to put some lines in here. Kind of like as far as I can see, you know, some of the lines of the cathedral, right? This would really help me to break it down, simplify, right? Because I'm not here to do a 800-hour drawing of Notre Dame. You know, who's got time for that? And so super simple. Breaking it down. I'm not even sure if these lines will come through just because of the nature of the gouache and everything. But maybe it'll add some interesting texturing, right? So I'm here just to check it out. Stained glass window. Look at that, I crossed right over there and I don't even care. So look at, I'm really seeing how simple, honestly, what a very simple church this is. Ah ha ha, isn't that so? All right? I'm not being precise. Have I said that? I'm just being very loosey-goosey. Who knows if these will show up? There we go. Okay, so now comes the super scary part. I just decided that I'm just gonna put a bit more color on here, because who am I to be afraid of color? Well, I mean, what's the worst that could happen? So let's just see. I have no idea, right? Did I just wreck it? I doubt it, but there. Okay. Now I'm just going to give this a few minutes to dry. Okay, so now my Notre-Dame is pretty dry. It doesn't really look like much except for a few blotches of color, but with my light pencil drawing of Notre-Dame, kind of a basic drawing of it, I went around and painted white gouache where I did not want black ink to grab onto, right? Sort of a printmaking process. I have to think about it kind of in reverse, right? And so then after I got the gouache on there for sort of like thinking of it as carvings, I just decided, well, I'm going to see what it looks like when I just put, this is saturated inks and some a very thin down white gouache, right, with water and white gouache. I painted over the whole thing, and then now it has dried. The reason why I mentioned this earlier, but I want to try to do art projects that take longer than 15 minutes. And I'll be honest, I really don't want to do art projects more than 15 minutes because I'm like, oh my God, this is taking so long. But, you know, like printmaking, God, that can take 3,000 hours for one, right? So a little bit different because at least I can do the thing, walk away and let it dry, right? So now I've got my Tinta China, right? Can you see that? Tinta China. There's a million different brands out there, as you wish. So I'm just going to put it, whoops. I'm just going to pour it in my chicken cutlet pan. Just so it's easier to get. I don't know if that's too much. I'll find out. And this is where it's really scary because this is where you just paint over the whole thing. I hope to God I didn't forget a step. I guess I'll find out, right? Oh my God, look at that. Just paint over the whole thing. Actually, I need a little bit more. So the combination of the black china ink over the white gouache, it just reacts differently where it's going to sit on the page for now and dry into it, but then we're going to run this under water. So you can see the white gouache coming through. Boy, I don't even think I put enough. Let me do one more little. Okay, that should be enough. It's kind of scary because like you just do this whole drawing and then you got to cover it up with the black tint. You can see my Notre-Dame coming through there, right? So now I really want to let this dry. And come on, give me a little bit more. I want a little bit more on there. Like this is where the tree is and stuff. I'll make sure I get darkness over there and then the sky over here. We'll see. Is this going to work? I don't know, but kind of exciting. So I'm going to let this dry and then do some blow drying before we take it out to the sink and let her dry. Or run it underwater. That's even scarier to run the whole thing underwater. Okay, be back in a flash. Okay, so comes up pretty easy off the board here. A key. And now we're gonna take this outside to my outside sink because I don't want to do this in my regular sink just cause, right? So here we go. Walking through my apartment. Here. I have a pretty roof, don't I? Lovely day. It just started raining, or it just stopped raining, I should say. Here, take a look. Oh, isn't that pretty? Yeah, here's my San Miguel de Allende view, right? Yeah. So this is my laundry area out here, and this is where I'm going to, right here. I'll admit, this is kind of the scary part, because not only painting over it with black, but then then letting the water run on it, right? Hey, now let me grab my brush. Look at that. I can see the saturated inks are kind of running, but you know, that's all right. I'm not looking for pure black and white. I like the color, you know, like the nighttime is color, water is color. Look at that. Oh my gosh, look at the lines of Notre Dame. I'm not going to rub it too hard because like here I will, and here I will, because I kind of want some variation in the sky. So I'm kind of stabbing it with my brush. So I don't want it to be all solid black. Oh yeah, look at that. Isn't that interesting? You can see the gouache rinsing away, but I don't want to blast it away because I want to keep some of that there, right? There she blows, man. Okay. Now, I'm going to hang this where I hang my laundry. Oh, look at that. Wait. Look at that. Isn't that fun? Let me get the camera and see if I can do this. Hey, isn't that fun? Look at that. My Notre Dame. There's Rosie. Hi, Rosie girl. And now I'm going to hang it here. Hang on a sec. There we go. There. So I'm going to let that dry in the sun. Can you see that? Wait a minute. Yeah. I'm going to let that dry in the sun a little bit. And then when it's dry, I'm going to paint it. Isn't that cool? It is like a print, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, I just got a phone call, so I lost some of my light, but I think it's going to be a-okay. My Notre Dame, after having it the We Most Resist gouache. Let's see. Let me just put a little wetness on here, better known as water, and just Just gonna hit it with a little bit. Oh my God, look at that, right? A little bit of that, right? I don't want to be all solid with it. I like having it, and I think with that, I am going to do a little bit of, it's a little too bright. Just a few hits of red. I want to put kind of there. Just I don't want much red, just a little bit. And now I'm going to go in with a little bit of. Is my blue working? Oh, let me get a little blue over here. Where's my blue? Well, I guess I have to use a different blue then. Let's try this blue. Yeah, look at that. Isn't that cool? It's actually turning a little green, which I don't mind. Right? Look at that. Wow, very cool. Now, I kind of want to, whoops, darken this a little bit. Let's see if I can do this without not taking it too far. I want to kind of bump up the black there. Just ever so gingerly, right? There's a big tree right over here. Right? Oh, wow. Black. Maybe just a little. Right there. Just a little. Kind of show it as clouds coming through. Okay, there's that. Now, I am using saturated inks right now. Just cause it's nice and potent, right? There, look at that. And cool. Now I want to use just a hint of red. I feel like my yellows have faded a little bit. Punch that up a little bit because I really want Notre-Dame to be the focal here, but I don't want like solid yellow. Right there, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Isn't that pretty? Isn't that pretty? There, I think I might be done. I think I might be done. Yeah, no, that's not coming up. What if let me just try one other thing here. Let me try this. Just out of curiosity. I'm using some watercolor. There we go. I think I may have gone a little too dark, but that's all right. That's all right. I'm going to let this dry a few minutes and then take off the tape. Okay, so here is my Notre Dame with in the We Must Resist, Gouache Resist, right? It's a super fun process of like drawing the thing and then losing the thing and then drawing the thing and then, or painting the thing and then covering it up. Oh, I lost some of my white edge here. That's all right. Oh my God. Look at this. Isn't that cool? Oh, I kind of like that, right? It looks totally like stained glass. Okay, so here it is. Here is today's finished We Must Resist, Gouache Resist, right? Look at that. It's like a huge stained glass church, right? Notre Dame. Super cool. I want to see your version of it. I hope you, the biggest thing about this is that it's just the drying time in between things, in between layers, took the longest amount of time. The technique itself is pretty quick moving. It's the drying time that took a long time. But in my quest to want to do things that take a little bit longer than 15 minutes, this was super cool. Look at that. It looks like a print. It looks like a print, right? Super cool. And I love it. I'm going to be there in like 2 weeks and very excited. And so let me see what you do with your We Must Resist Gouache Notre Dame. Okay, bye.